the good news, right? That's what I'll be asking for sure. All right, grand rising, grand arrival, grand return. Peace and blessings to the righteous and repentant alike. I am Sophia of the AmaruKhan Band of Indians, and this is your Capricorn full moon transmutation report, where we practice manipulating the incoming rays to the earth in a format that best serves our creator. This is for the Capricorn full moon, and I have notes, so hopefully we can get through this pretty quickly. Thank you for joining us. This is a part of a larger video that is available if you join us on our lunar working group, which is in the description. You can get the information on how to become a part of that free sort of group where I give the videos and try to host talks, although we haven't had one in a while, but we'll be getting back to them in the fall. All right, so we have 7 points of interest for this lunation, and I would like to say that they are literally like an exact mirror, very, very close. And so we're going to talk about what these cards mean, and then on the next page we're going to talk about how to transmute these specific energies. And so this reading is a channeled message, and also it's based on the astrology, because each card has is assigned numbers based on the astrology wheel, and then I take those interpretations and create these spreads just to kind of explain what's going on here. So our ascendant is at 23 degrees of Cancer, which is the Chariot, and that's triumph, victory, overcoming obstacles. So right off the bat, this Capricorn full moon is about triumph and victory and overcoming obstacles right off the bat. So that just tells me like they are trying to do everything they can to feel like that triumph isn't coming, that victory isn't coming, that winning is not coming. And the longer they can drag it out and make us miserable in the process, the better it is for them, because they can keep us as slaves on this planet plantation system they got going on here, instead of freeing us to be sovereign only to our creator. But they don't have a choice, because the triumph, the victory, and overcoming the obstacles is in the books. Our sun is at 29 degrees of Cancer, which is the Four of Cups, and that's plateau, bored, and disconnection. One of the problems that's coming up, especially in the day-to-day readings, when I'm looking at the energy, is that it's really, really easy to disconnect from people right now. It's not even necessary to disconnect from them. You can just sit and mind your business, and things will happen for you in a positive. So you don't have to disconnect from people. You don't have to feel like you've hit a plateau. And this is definitely in the energy, because some of the readers use that exact language, and you'll see as we get closer. Juno is at 23 degrees of Virgo, which is the Princess of Cups, and that's I don't call it page, I call it princess. Okay, opportunity, invitation, affection. So some people, if your human design is a projector, you have to wait for an invitation. Well, the invitation is coming. If you're a manifester, you wait for someone to have a problem, which is also an invitation. So for whatever human design type you are, however you deal with your information, an invitation is coming, and you really want to be prepared for it. You don't want to sit back, be all messed up, and then when the opportunity comes, you don't have the drive to go and get it. You absolutely want to focus your energy on the opportunities that you have in front of you. Like in the Princess of Cups card, the Page of Cups card, he has a little cup with a little fish in it. And some people may say, well, that's just a little cup and a little fish. That's a breadcrumb offer. No, he's happy about what he has to offer. That is the best that he could do. And so, or she. So you don't have to feel bad about not coming in with everything that you need. That's ridiculous. Like, some things are just going to be handed to you. Where did he get the fish from? He don't have no fishing gear, nothing like that. So obviously someone handed that to him. Everything will be given to you if you are able to stay in this triumph, victory, and overcoming obstacles, and not get stuck in the plateau, bored, and disconnection, which are the first two cards. The next card we have is literally the Descendant and the Part of Fortune, and it is the Moon card, and that's intuition, dreams, the subconscious, mystery, and astral realm. So the fact that this is in the middle of this spread, and there's literally three cards on the front, three cards on the back, and this is the middle. This is the focal point of this energy, and it's interesting because it's not the moon exactly. It's where we can be fortunate. It's where we wrap the cycle up. That's where the fortunate part is. It's not in this beginning the cycle, because the victory was already won, but there's still details to figure out along the way. And this moon card really shows that, especially being in this position of the Descendant and the Earth card, or Part of Fortune. I will also say that you've probably been having a lot of astral activations, maybe. And so you may have more access to the astral realm than you have before. And you just want to be careful about that you don't go overboard, because it's quite easy. All right, the next placement we have is the moon, which is at 29 of Capricorn, and that's the Four of Coins, which is security, limit, and conservation. Conservation has been a really, really big topic, only because the negative side, I guess, if you want to call them, whatever you want to call them, the wicked ones, they only know wickedness. And so they are working with that wickedness to make things as miserable as possible. And so if you know that that is the plan, if you understand that, then you will understand how you have to act so that you're not caught up all in that. And part of it is to conserve your money, because see, what they're trying to do is convince you to be a slave in their system and to keep their system chugging along. Well, if you decline that invitation to be a slave in their system, to give them your energy, well, their whole system collapses, and it is collapsing. It's just, again, people were looking for collapses where people were dying and it was horrible, and we're getting more of a total breakdown in just normal functioning. Like, stuff that's supposed to be normal and easy is just not like going to be normal and easy. Like, for example, they say that Biden has COVID, and that's interesting, because the Democrats just adopted a policy that said if you can't come to the convention to be voted in person, I guess you can't be on the ticket, which is kind of like the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. But it's like, oh, they're trying to find a way to get out of taking this public loss. They're trying to salvage some of their image. And if the creator wants to allow that, hey, that's that man's prerogative. I'm going to stay out of it. However, I have predicted for many, many, many months now that I do believe that Uncle Joe is going to make it to the election, and he's going to lose fair and square, because there's no other way that this story can end happily unless it ends with the protagonist, or the antagonist, the one who's antagonizing the situation, has to face a fair judgment. And so far, everybody, I think, personally, getting shot is a fair judgment for somebody who is pro-gun. Okay? If that's how you look at it, that's a fair judgment. But obviously, he doesn't advocate, I'm talking about Trump here, doesn't advocate for a murder, because he didn't get murdered by the gun, but he did get shot by the gun. So, it is instant karma, basically. And so, if but if the Most High wants to show some mercy towards Uncle Joe in his old age, I would understand that too. It's really bad for our country to have a leader seen like that. But then they have to figure out how they're going to get the authority to change all the rules they would have to change to still have a normal election, which, they may just back away from altogether. I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do, and it's not my problem to worry about it. I got a little distracted. Okay. The next placement we have is Saturn, which is at 19 degrees of Pisces, and that's the Six of Coins. And the Six of Coins is tolerance, generosity, and helpfulness. So it's important to conserve through the full moon. At least you want to conserve, because then after this full moon comes and goes or whatever, you're going to be able to be more generous and more helpful. So it feels like if there's like a delay going on right now for you, like you just like, what's holding things up? We have to get through this moon, that this wave of energy actually wash out, and then we're going to get into the new energy, which is it feels like it's going to be, you're going to have the ability to give and judge, because in the Six of Pentacles, he's got a scale there. So it's not just, he's not just giving the house away, he's also judging to see if the person is right or wrong. You know what I mean? Using it almost like a point of divination. So if I was gonna recreate that scene, I would use a pendulum. And then I would say, okay, how much money does this person need? Is this a real homeless person? Do they really this? Do they really that? You know, just to verify their situation. So he's got a scales. I would use a pendulum. And this is one of the, well, not just this one, the Four of Pentacles and this Six of Pentacles, they're both wearing blue and red, just like Mary Magdalene. I'll just show y'all this in our who's our saint for this lunation. She's in red and blue. This particular scheme is what the philosophers wore, and in many icons you will see Jesus dressed like this. The icon I have of Jesus, he's dressed like this. The one that I have of him as an adult, he is dressed as the philosopher, in the same like color scheme and everything. So just to say, she is equal on that philosopher grade like the apostles. All right, so the last one we have is Neptune, which is at 29 degrees of Pisces, and that's the princess. I don't call them pages, I call them princesses. Again, the princess of coins, and that's ambition, diligence, and desire. So not only will you have the ability to be generous, you will have the ambition to go along with it. And those themes, ambition, diligence, and desire, are recurring themes with this lunation. If I had to say what the theme of this lunation was, it would be ambition, diligence, and desire. It's really, really energy that's focused in on this, right? So this is what, if you do nothing else and you just go along with the energy, this is the kind of things that will come to you. And these things are not necessarily bad. They're not necessarily good either. They just are. I would say this energy is more good than bad compared to other energies, but based on where the planets are in your chart and how this interacts with your personal chart, it could create some problems. So what we always want to be trying to do is transmute the energy. It doesn't mean get rid of it. It doesn't mean ignore it. It doesn't mean anything except to try to elevate the energy to its highest potential, right? So here's our transmutation chart. You will notice that it's very similar, but it's in a different order. See, because in the regular chart, the chariot is first, right? But in the transmutation chart, the moon is first. And so when you transmute the energy, you're pushing out this trajectory over the whole next year, really, until the next lunation, which the next full moon in Cancer, which I believe is July. Wait a minute, y'all, I just had it. June the 10th or something like that. June the 27th. Is it June the 27th, 2025? I know I might not even have 2025 in here. You know I don't. Well, anyway, I think it's the June full moon when we'll get the fullness. We'll have this push out to that time period. all of these different energies, which in my opinion, like I said, are pretty good. So the ascendant energy in this case is the moon card, which can be seen through our Capricorn 7th house. And the moon again is intuition, dreams, subconscious, and mystery. And the 7th house in Capricorn is driven to succeed even without goals. Learn to overcome vulnerabilities. I feel like that's the overall theme of this lunation. If you want to transmute this energy, if you want to make the most of it, you have to be driven to succeed, even if you're not exactly sure what the goal is. Like, what is it going to look like when you get there? You have to be internally driven to succeed, and you also have to learn to overcome vulnerabilities. With some of the paperwork and stuff that I'm working on, there's huge vulnerability gaps. Like, there's things that I don't have control over. So what I'm trying to do is to come up with enough different solutions that if someone comes to me and they have a problem similar to what I have, especially in relation to money, we can start to turn things around quickly. We don't have to wait until all this crap is done and then, whatever. We can start to turn this ship around and get it moving in the right direction, as opposed to most people, they don't have any solutions for anything. And you just end up going in circles. So this driven to succeed even without a goal is really, really helpful. And that's what we want to always just keep in our mind. Like, if we could just say, oh, look, I got to get this done. I don't know what the goal is. This is something that we have been saying, like, when we canceled the contracts and all the different things we've done on this channel, we didn't know what the goal was. We didn't know what the plan was. We didn't even realize there was a plan. I didn't know that the elementals was getting involved until something was like elementals. I'm like, elementals? Was never planning on working with them because X, Y, and Z. I didn't know how to work with them. And it was revealed like in the blink of an eye, oh, this is how you work with the elementals. And we've added in elementals to our lunation cycle. So it's not that you can't do this stuff. It's just that if you're not driven to be successful, if you're not driven to make it to the end of your race, then it doesn't matter what the goal is. Like, it doesn't even matter. You have to be driven even if there is no goal. And that's what the moon, Capricorn in the 7th house. Well, when you add in the moon element, this is getting into using your intuition. Using your intuition to remain driven. Using your intuition and your dreams and your subconscious to figure out what the goal is. To help you understand what the goal is. Because sometimes the goal is you just have to do it to learn that lesson. You have to know how to, like for me, I'm doing a bunch of paperwork stuff. So I'm like, why does this have to happen to me? Why is I have to be able to do this? It's because if someone has a problem, I have to be able to, in my mind, rattle off exactly all the paperwork they need without, making a mistake so that they don't forget anything. And so I feel like I sufficiently can do that at this point. And it's really comfortable for me because I've had several times this week I've had to basically drop everything and work on, basic paperwork. But it's fine because now I know I can drop everything, think about it for a few minutes, and spit out an answer that has, some legs, somewhere to go. All right, our next placement is the sun, which is in, which is transmuted to this 4 of coins. Regularly, it's the 4 of cups, and this is also through the 7th house of Capricorn. So the 4 of coins is security, limit, and conservation. But we're going to look at it through our 7th house of Capricorn, which is driven to succeed without goals, learn to overcome vulnerabilities. So this has to do with physical vulnerability. So the first one has to do with spiritual, dealing with your overcoming the spiritual vulnerabilities, which is intuition, dreams, subconscious. And if you haven't developed that, you are going to be this cycle from now until the new moon is going to be best spent by you trying to overcome your vulnerabilities, your spiritual vulnerabilities, the inside of you, your emotional vulnerabilities with your intuition. And then on the outside of you, you're going to want to overcome your vulnerabilities in relation to finances, because this is a coins card. We're talking about physical abundance. And you have to learn how to overcome your vulnerabilities. So, like I was just saying, for myself, I want to be able to have enough that I can, pour into other people when they have problems. My goal in putting money in my hand is not so that I can just get all the money. It's because I want to be able to set other people up to do things that if they don't want to go through all this paperwork and keep it all straight, because it is a full-time job doing this paperwork. It is. And so if you can't imagine working that hard for yourself with no supervision, then this is not really for you, which is fine. I understand that. However, there are some things that are just so wildly out of control that they're not for anybody. Like there's no, $20 for a Big Mac, fries, and a drink is for nobody. It's just unacceptable all the way around. And so we have to be able to overcome those vulnerabilities, those things that could cause us to come off board financially too, not just spiritually. All right, so we have Juno, which is, in this case, the Princess of Pentacles, which is ambition, diligence, and desire. But we're going to look at it, we're going to transmute it through the perspective of the ninth house of Pisces. Now, this is the only ninth house Pisces card in the whole deck, and it has to do with coins. Juno being related, again, to partnership, commitment, relationship dynamics. We have the Princess of Coins, which the ninth house of Pisces, I'm sorry, which is expanded consciousness through changing emotions. And don't get so absorbed in someone else's plans that you forget your own. So it's really, really easy to get absorbed into everything else that everyone else has going on and forget what you do have. So you even see this in a card. So you can see the guy, he's gazing at his coin. That's his energy. He produced himself. He's not looking at somebody else's coin. He's looking at his coin. And so you can be very distracted if you start focusing on other people's coins when you should, in fact, indeed need to be focusing on your own coins. He's not focused on that beautiful scene behind him. He is only focused on the coin. And that's kind of like, we have to be of singular eyes, some people would refer to it as. All right, so the next placement is the Descendant, which is also, like I mentioned, on the part of Fortune. And this is the Chariot. And it says the Chariot card is triumph, victory, and overcoming obstacles. And we want to look at that through the perspective of the first house in Cancer, which is hiding. Wait a minute. First house of Cancer, right. Hiding power to adapt. Pay attention to how you are perceived and keep emotions even. So the triumph and victory that you can get over the next 6 months is going to be hiding your power to adapt. Pay attention to how you are perceived and keep your emotions even. We have to have ourselves under control. There's no way moving forward that we're going to be successful if we can't control ourselves. And a lot of people can't. I still see people doing some really, really insane stuff, saying some of the most insane conspiracy theories I've ever heard. As a recovering conspiracy theorist, I've heard everything. And the things people are saying about what's going on right now is completely unhinged. It's off. It's off. These people are off. And so we have to collectively decide that we're not going to go down a deep rabbit hole like all these anonymous people and some that aren't anonymous. We cannot afford to go down Q2 rabbit hole. We need to stay focused on what we can see, what we did see, and what is what our intuition is telling us. What I can see from this is that there are so many people out of touch with their intuition that they need to recalibrate it. Let's just put it that way. It's not even that they're out of touch with it. It's not calibrated properly. We have to recalibrate our intuition. I feel like that's what this new moon, these transmutations are saying. Starting with the very first one, which was the moon, through the seventh house of Capricorn, which is overcoming vulnerabilities to intuition and dreams. Which reminds me of something like, there are some people who really believe they're communicating with angels and they're not. Like, they're just not. And I feel like some of these people are going to have a very difficult time giving these entities up because they believe that they are good entities. But if the entities are not, if you're not becoming more successful and you don't have more control over your intuition, these are not positive entities. The positively oriented entities will help you, and your ancestors, angels, and guides will allow you to use your intuition more effectively and not someone else's. Like when I was, working on this paperwork project that I'm working on, I didn't make any calls. I didn't stop what I was doing and do this deep prayer. The answer came immediately, as it was just like, boom, do this. And I'm like, oh, okay, let me just do this. And it was like, boom, do that. Okay, let me just go and handle that. It was very, very quick. It was very simple. It was very unemotional, uninvolved. And that's how we have to be. Like, there's no way we can possibly say, or we should possibly say, let me check with this person before I take this thing. No, 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 no. You have to know it on the inside. That's what this whole ascendant with the learning to overcome a vulnerability, seventh house of Capricorn, in relation to intuition. Your vulnerability in your intuition right now is the fact that you don't know what it sounds like. Like, it is out of whack. You have to be recalibrated. That can be done through vacations. That can be done through taking sound advice. That can be done through turning off the internet. Stop listening to these people. That can be done by refocusing your energy on yourself. Looking at your chart. Looking at your human design. Digging into your chart. Getting readings. Really figuring out who you are. Not who, everyone says that you should be. That's just going in the wrong direction. A lot of people are going in the wrong direction. All right, the next placement we have is the moon, which is transmuted into the Four of Cups energy, which is plateau, bored, and disconnections. But we're going to use this through the first house of Cancer, which is, again, hiding power to adapt. Pay attention to how you are perceived and keep emotions even. In this case, you have the guy ignoring all the cups, but maybe all the cups are poison. That's why he don't want them cups. But he knows that they're poison because he's listening to his intuition and stuff like that. So you have to be able to identify when you've got poison cups and say, oh no, I'm not taking that cup. It's poison. Just like when everybody started talking about the thing that happened on Saturday, I wasn't even on my phone. I was getting ready to cook dinner. So you have the ability to engage with these news stories in ways that make you feel comfortable. But what you can't do is give up your power to these people and then try and understand why you can't get accomplished what you need to get accomplished, because you need all of your energy. It's very important for you to have, and it's also what these individuals thrive off of. They survive off of your power. So if you call your power back, they can no longer survive and thrive. And that's what we have to do. All right. Also, keep your emotions even. Like, if you think the cups are filled with poison, you just say, no, thank you. I'm going to go over there with my friend, like the next picture, which is the Six of Cups, and have some, some flower water, because that Four of Cups, there's nothing in those cups. You can't tell whether it's good or bad, But in the very next scene, you could clearly see that there's flowers in it. So that's flower water. Now I'm gonna go get some flower water, some floral water, lilac water, lavender water, whatever the case may be. Seems like it would be a pretty good way to deal with this energy. All right, we're almost there. Saturn is the Six of Cups, which is romance, love, nostalgia. And we're going to transmute that using the energy from the third house of Virgo, which is curious and fast mind, but detached from emotions. Details make a difference. So we don't want to let this romance, love, and nostalgia take over. We don't want to ignore it, but we don't want to become attached to it. And we also want to focus in on the details. Like, you don't want to just pick up things you don't want. You don't want to just get stuff that you don't want. You don't want to agree to contracts, paperwork, folk, with, things in it that you don't agree to. You don't want to sign it in the ways that are, not right. You always want to just do things the right way, the way that they're supposed to be done. Because the details do make a difference. And the detail between a nostalgic incident and a nightmare could be something as small as being curious, what this other person is like in bed or something like that, especially with relationships. And then, the next thing you know, you're trying to convince your girl to let you stay and blah, 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 and all of this stuff. It just turns into this whole big spiraling out of control thing. So we have to really wheel that back in. And I'm glad that this is in Virgo, because it helps us stay really, really, really tied to the ground, really grounded in, because so many energies right now are in trines. We have water trines. We have all kinds of like watery, flowy, airy, whatever energy. And so the earth energies that are able to be tapped into, we really want to ground those energies in. We don't want to allow those energies to just go wherever and do whatever they're going to do, because it's too much energy floating around here for anybody to be doing anything like that. Right? All right, our last cup here is our Neptune card, which is the Princess of Cups. And it says opportunity, invitation, and affection. And we're going to look at this through our third house of Virgo, which is curious and fast-minded, detached from emotions, and details make a difference. We have to pay attention to what's going on if we are given something that we accept. So these last three cards, the Four of Cards, the Six of Cards, and the Page of Cards, you can see how the individuals in these cards are all accepting or rejecting something based on whatever their personal observation is, right? In the same process, these individuals are staying detached from emotion in the most part. They're not super excited. They're not super sad and crying by themselves. They are able to, not detaching from their emotions, but keeping their emotions even, and understanding that the details make a difference, but not that much of a difference that you have to go out and cry over spilled milk, because you're not supposed to have that milk anyway. It's poison. You get the flour milk or water, and then the princess of couples of Princess of Cups is you integrating that new energy that you picked up while you were out into the rest of the group. And I don't think that people understand that when you go ready to integrate into a group, if you've got the energy of some weird thing on you, you're going to bring that energy with you. So you have to learn how to do this type of integration in a way that doesn't, you don't lose yourself, right? This whole transmutation report talks about learning to overcome vulnerabilities in the spirit realm, and everything trickles from there. So the very first thing we have to be able to do is to overcome vulnerabilities within our own selves, within our intuition, and within the spirit realm. So I hope this has been helpful for you. If you enjoy this kind of astrology content, please feel free to join me on my channel where my handle is at Sophia Spiritualite. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you in the next video. Shalom.